Okay, are you excited for your Sao Paulo FP1? Well, there's been a lot of drama today. We've had Oscar Piastri reacting to Jos Verstappen's comments in the media, as Jos Verstappen's been stirring the pot, trying to get McLaren fighting in their ranks, basically saying Oscar Piastri needs to get a backbone and he should be going into Zach Brown's office, banging his fist on the table, saying, why is my car slower than Lando Norris's? Piastri then hit back today and said it's just not the case. Did a video on it. It's only a short video. If you do get a chance after FP1, have a look. And you can have a little watch of that in your own time. But we've got live timings today. We've obviously got a track. We're going to do some commentary. And this is going to be our first indication of who's going to be quick here at Interlagos. And if you are watching the stream, get in the chat. We can enjoy the action together. We can chat about what's been going on in the news. And we can discuss it. Just get in the chat, say hello. And don't forget, please smash a like on the video. I hate saying smash a like on the video. There's got to be a better way of saying that. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the bell so you can keep up to date with all of the content that comes out from F1 Grandstand. And if you feel like it, share it and do all that good stuff. It makes a massive difference to the success of the channel. So we've got live timings today for FP1. I wonder how Carlos Sainz is feeling. Does anyone know? I've been trying to find out because Carlos Sainz was under the weather yesterday and he was unable to do his media commitments. Hey Gemma, snacks at the ready. That's good. I'm glad you got some snacks, Gemma. I've got a bottle of water. That's what I'm armed with. A bottle of water. But I'm excited to see because the weather's going to play a part in Brazil. And if you think about last year, 2024, we had a crazy result, didn't we? We had a Max Verstappen win, but we had two Alpines on the podium. We had Esteban Ocon finishing P2, Pierre Gasly P3. I wonder if we're going to get some, remarkable results this weekend due to weather. I do love it. Wet races are the best leveler. The best leveler. So I can just see all the cars now waiting to come out on track just to see, because they're all guessing at this point. They're going to be coming with some sort of, they don't know what the setup's going to be. They've got an idea. But this first free practice session will just give them a quick idea of, where the cars are at. Free practice, I'm not going to lie. Free practice one is always damn boring, but because it's a sprint weekend, sprint qualifying later will get a little bit more exciting. And I don't know if you watched my video earlier this week about Carlos Sainz's spicy ideas for the FIA. It was all to do with the sprint races and how the format could be improved. And I actually really agreed with his suggestions, two of them especially. He suggested that everybody should run on the soft compound tyre for the sprint race. That way, at least there's a chance that the tyres could go off. There's more of a taking. It can make it a little bit more interesting. Hey, DT, welcome to the chat. And I also really like this following suggestion for the sprint race. And it was in SQ3 to have it as a super pole. And if you're not sure what a super pole is, it's basically when the drivers come out, they get one shot, one lap, and that's it. No do-overs. So they either hit it or miss it. And I think that would be brilliant for the qualifying in SQ3 for the sprint races. Let me know what you think. Hey, Notes Jay, good afternoon. Can't wait for this. My favourite track. Praying for a fun weekend. Me too. Me too. Lewis Hamilton's pretty good round here, no, sir? Yeah, he's pretty good here. So you might be paying your missus 100 quid. Does that 100 quid, by the way, is that included for a sprint race result, or does it have to be for the Grand Prix? If Hamilton gets a podium in the sprint race tomorrow, do you still have to give her 100 quid? Hey, the Wooden. We've seen the soft can go long. They need a super high def tyre just for sprints. Disagree on changing quali. We've been through this before and nothing else works. I don't mean change the whole quali session, just the shootout. So qualifying would work. So SQ3, same format. Slowest 5 cars get dropped. SQ2, same format. Slowest 5 cars get dropped. But just for SQ3, just for the top 10 shootout, they all get a one-shot, one-lap winner takes all. I quite like that idea. Just for the shootout, I actually think it's quite cool. But only for SQ3, not for the whole thing. Not for the whole thing. Just for SQ3, that final 10 minutes. I quite like the idea. Because you either hit it or miss it, right? And it's only for the top 10. But if somebody messes up that lap, you're going to get some, because if you've seen like Alpines and Haas's getting through, I think they'd have the best chance, 100%. But you do get the chance for a mistake, an error, right? Just going wide on a corner. It can happen to anyone, really. Pushing too hard, lock up. And it does give a chance that you might get some results for teams like, Alpine, Haas, Sauber. They just, I don't know. I just think it would make it, just add a layer of excitement just for the sprint qualifying. I really liked it. I don't think they'll do it, but I do think it's quite a nice idea. But if they designed a super high deg tire for sprints, I think that would be good. I agree. They need a tire that that will go off if you push. That they'll be off by the last four laps, 3 laps. So yeah, a tire management needs to come into that race somehow. I know we obviously don't want pit stops, but yeah, a tire that degrades quicker. Maybe the short on like what science is saying, like a soft or even like you say, its own compound, like a super soft sprint tire. Because at the moment, the soft tire it lasts too long. But that's what Pirelli was saying about next season. Like they were saying that they were talking about an arbitrary. Everyone needs to complete 2 pit stops because that'll create some drama for the viewer. And actually, what the real issue is, I think it's a Pirelli problem that they need to make sure that the soft tire goes off earlier, and it's the tire compound issue, really. I think because we don't want to lose 1 stop versus 2 stop, but we do want to make it a challenge to have a 1 stop strategy, right? Otherwise, if everyone's just on a 2 stop, then all you're relying on is an error in a pit stop. I think I don't know. I do think it's a Pirelli problem. I think Pirelli needs to try and really hone in their tire compounds so you can't do 25-30 laps on the soft tire. Coming out now, just 1 minute till we see who where the teams are currently sat at the minute for FP1. Let's see who's quick and who isn't. I mean, it's hard to see past Max for this race. I mean, this really is a pivotal moment for the World Drivers' Championship. If Max and Red Bull have brought a strong car to Brazil, and I don't see why they wouldn't. It's a great track for Max. He won 4 out of the last 6, I think. Well, this is the 6th. So, it's a track Max loves. It suits the Red Bull, I think. That car's way more balanced since the upgrades. So, yeah, I think. Oh, so Wooden says, Pirelli have been a terrible tyre supplier. They just can't get it right. I mean, maybe they'll get it right in 26. Maybe they'll get it right in 26. I hope so, because I do think that's the real issue. Because we can't lose the 1-stop versus the 2-stop decision for the teams. It can change races. It's brilliant. Max or McLaren for this race, yeah. I mean, I actually think Oscar Piastri is going to come good this weekend. I do. I think we're going to see Oscar Piastri return to some form this weekend. I really do. Yeah, do you think Bridgestone want to be the Formula One tyre supplier now, again? Max all the way to the championship. Well, you think Max is going all the way? What a comeback that would be. From 104 points, he's narrowed it down to 36 now. I mean, and now we've got a sprint race weekend. I mean, there's, 33 points off grabs. Well, we're off and running. It's just 60 minutes. Everything seems to be working okay. Quick check. Incidents, green light. Yeah, we've got our incidents information working all good. So, as we all know, FP1 is a little boring for everybody. It always is. It always is. But we shall try and find the action. Yeah. Well, at least we're on. We've got live lap timings. If you watch on screen now, what you've got is you've got the three deltas next to each driver. Purple, obviously, look for purple. That means that driver has gone fastest in that sector. And the drivers will reorder in accordance to their position. Obviously, we've got a little track here, right underneath my chin. That shows you all the drivers are out on track. And we will be covering all the action. Just 57 minutes to go. But FP1, what does FP1 normally tell us? Well, FP1 will normally give us an early indication of pace, but it will not give us a real indication of race pace. Sprint qualifying later on today, we'll see who's quick and who isn't. But right now, this is a bit more of a shakedown. The Wooden says, to be honest, I think World Driver Championship for Lando or Oscar is a waste of a title. Oh, why? Elaborate. Why do you think that? You think they're undeserving winners of the World Drivers' Championship? And if you are watching on the stream, thank you very much for joining us. Get in the chat. They're a friendly bunch. You got Nose today, you got the Wooden, you got DT and Gemma. Get in the chat. Ask some questions. Very friendly community. So feel free to jump in the chat and say hello. I'd like to see who is with us. But I am really expecting an uptick in Oscar Piastri's performance. I think the way he's conducted himself in his response to all of the comments that Jos Verstappen was saying, trying to stir it up in the McLaren team. And also Zach Brown's comments saying that he'd rather have a 2007 situation where they had at McLaren when Lewis Hamilton and Fernando Alonso were fighting it out for the World Championship. And it was actually won by Kimi Raikkonen by 1 point. He said he'd rather that situation and neither driver win the World Drivers' Championship and get beaten by Max than Zach or the team deciding which driver gets favoured. Because there's 1 point in it, and how can you tell both drivers that your dream of winning the World Drivers' title this year is gone away? You can't. You just couldn't do that. And would you listen anyway? Would you listen? There's 1 point in it. I mean, would you really listen to team orders at this point? Nosa says Norris would be the worst F1 champ, I believe, ever. And we had James Hunt. Oh, come on. You didn't like James Hunt just for the drama. Just for the drama, right? I listen, James Hunt the Shunt was I mean, he's a character, wasn't he? Back in those days of racing Formula One cars where drinking beer and smoking cigarettes was perfectly acceptable in the most unpolitically correct way. I mean, it was certainly an era. The Wooden says Zach's a liar. The World Driver Championship sells more cars than the constructors. Well, 100% true on that. I'm not saying not that Zach's a liar, but the fact that the Drivers' Championship is the one that the fans respect. Are we bothered about the constructors? I mean, obviously the team are bothered about the constructors because their bonuses are based on it. But for the fan, of course, we're more invested in the Drivers' Championship. We are. But I don't think Zach's lying when it comes to he's going to let them both race. I think he is going to let them race. Yeah, I do. I think he is going to. I think he is letting them race, and I think Oscar Piastri has got a chance to prove it this weekend. So speaking of Oscar Piastri, he's currently quickest on track right now with a 1:12.1. A quick bit of trivia: who holds the lap record in Brazil? Answers in the chat. Let's go. Answers in the chat. Who holds the lap? And don't cheat. Do not cheat. Who holds the lap record in Brazil? And I'll give you a little clue. One of our regulars, Gemma, it's her favourite driver. It's Gemma's favourite driver, let me tell you. Hamilton's currently P2. 2/10 slower than Piastri. Then we have Alonso, who's 5/10 behind Piastri. They've got Norris, Russell, Behrman, Sainz. Good to see Sainz out there. He was poorly yesterday. Couldn't do the press day, but he is out for FP1. Yes, DT. No, it wasn't Max. Bottas. Valtteri Bottas did a 1 minute 10 point something. I can't remember exactly what it is. Let me see if I can find it. Bottas did a 1 minute 10. I can't seem to find it. But yeah, he did a 1 minute 10.4, I think, in 2018. But Bottas, yeah. Bottas holds the lap record in Brazil from 2018. Who can tell me how many times Max Verstappen has won here? Another bit of trivia. And he's won them all in the last 5 years. Nope, not 3. You'll be surprised. It is more than I thought, actually. He's won it. I'm going to tell you. Max Verstappen's won here in 2019, 2021, 2023, and 2024. He's won 4 times in the last 5 years. But here's a really good bit of trivia. Who won in 2022? This is brilliant. Who won in 2022 in Brazil? And this is a great bit of trivia. And name the team. Ocon cost him one. Yeah. Ocon finished P2 last year. Max wins the race. Ocon and the Alpine finished P2. And Gasly finished P3 in 2024 in the Alpine. But who won in 2022? This is a really good bit of trivia. Not George Russell. I'm going to give you another clue. It was in a Haas. In a Haas. A Haas won the race in 2022. Got to be his greatest. It might only be. The guy hasn't won many. I'd have to Google it to see how many he's won. But in 2022, I'm going to tell you. In 2022, hang on. Unless my Brasilia stats and trivia is wrong, I'm going to check. 2, 1 in 2022. My AI could be doing me dirty. That was George Russell. That's hilarious. So I've got I had AI open to get some stats, and do you know what it told me? Do you know what it told me? It told me Magnussen had won in 2022. I couldn't remember. AI doing me dirty with my stats. But you're right, it was George Russell. Got to fact check these AI. Yeah, that's what, exactly. You're right. Haas have never won a race. The best they've ever finished was was it P3 Roman Grosjean. Only podium they've ever had. Oh, AI doing me dirty. I thought it was a fascinating answer. I need to start concentrating when I'm doing a live stream. That's brilliant. He got pole on qualifying. Did he? Is that right now today? So where AI has messed me up, he got Magnussen put that Haas on pole in 2022. I need to know where he finished in that race now. Where did he finish? Oh, he didn't finish. P20. Imagine that. So he puts it on pole. Doesn't finish the race. Unlucky Magnussen. So, we'll give you a quick update on what's going on. So we've got George Russell out at the top at the moment, followed by Norris, Leclerc, Verstappen, Sainz, Alonso, Albon, Piastri, Dan P8, Gasly. So Lance Stroll, P9, Gasly, P10, Hamilton, P11, Bortoletto, then Hadjar, then Antonelli, Ocon, Lawson, Behrman, Colapinto. Oh, congratulations to Colapinto. He has just agreed his new deal at Alpine for 2026. Let me know what you think about that. Do you think he did enough this season to keep his drive at Alpine? What does that mean for the other drivers who may be out of a drive at the end of this season? We've got Yuki Tsunoda, Liam Lawson, both battling out possibly for the final Racing Bulls seat if they promote Arvid Lindblad into the Racing Bulls. So that decision to give Franco Colapinto an extension to his contract and his drive for 26 could affect other drivers on the grid. The Wooden, yeah, I can't believe the 11 race novice. Oh, Karun is commentating. He's so terrible at commentating and driving. Hey, listen, my commentating's been awful. I relied on AI for a fact that I knew wasn't true and then told people about it. I'm going to be getting cancelled. I'll definitely be getting cancelled. But if you're watching, I hope you're enjoying the stream. Do get in the chat. Join in with the guys. They're a really lovely bunch. Have your say. Ask some questions. Notes Jay says, I don't think he did enough, but it's hard to tell what is good enough with a car that's not good. Yeah, look. The thing about a bad car is that if you're not the best driver, you kind of become anonymous. But if you're a good driver in a bad car, you basically elevate your status to godlike, right? You know, look at last time out in Mexico City, Ollie Behrman's result in the Haas to get P4. It's, you know, the degrees of sort of success are amplified because it's in a Haas. And all of a sudden, you're looking at Ollie Behrman going, oh, wow, okay, impressive. And that goes all the way back to Ayrton Senna, 1984, in the Tolman, in the wet race at the Monaco Grand Prix, where he was taking 4 seconds a lap out of Alain Prost McLaren, which he was robbed, by the way, and it was stolen from him, that race. But that was where his legend was born. It was a Garage Easter team, Tolman, you know, never won a race, right? And in the wet, he was second place, 31 laps in, and they stopped the race on him. But he was taking out 4 seconds a lap, and that's the thing about bad cars. They highlight great drives for great drivers. But if they're not a great driver, then it's always well, it's a crap car. Yeah, the Wooden, you're right. Senna got robbed there and at Monaco. Yeah, he got robbed in Suzuka. They tried to rob him twice in Japan because. For all Alain Prost needed to do in was it 1989? I think it was, when all they had to do was stop Senna from winning the race, stop him beating him. Not only did Senna qualify pole, and then he moved pole over to the dirty side of the track so Prost could get ahead. Senna hunts him down, and about, I don't know, it's probably 3/4 of the race through, Senna was going to pass Alain Prost, and Alain Prost takes him out. Crazy. Because that's all they had to do, stop him from winning. Following year, reverse. Same thing happens. Senna gets pole. Move pole to the dirty side of the track. Prost gets away clean. And then what Senna does, he doesn't lift in the first corner. And because Senna's in front in the Drivers' Championship, him and Prost collide. And And yeah, it's that was the end of that, and Senna wins the race. But in 1989, they actually pushed Senna's car back onto the track at Suzuka. He wins the race. He gets past. He passes everybody, wins the race, and then he gets disqualified from the race because he didn't enter the track via the escape road. It was insane. Oh, Ballesteri! Wow, what he was up to back then. French president of the FISA then, which is like the old FIA, and obviously did everything he could to keep Alain Prost on top. It was outrageous, absolutely outrageous. Outrageous. Funny that we're talking about it at Brazil. Senna's home track. So quick check. Russell still up top. Verstappen. Then we've got Leclerc, Hamilton, Piastri, Antonelli, Norris, Hadjar, Bortoleto, Sainz, Alonso, Albon, Lawson, Gasly, Hulkenberg, Ocon, Stroll, Behrman, Colapinto, and Tsunoda. Yeah. You see, I tell you the problem with Alain Prost, and it's not a problem because that hasn't done anything for his legacy. Because Alain Prost was the professor for a reason. He was brilliant. He could calculate wind speed. You know, he knew exactly how fast he needed to go to do what he needed to do. And he analyzed risk in a way that, like a mathematician. Senna was emotion. It was spiritual. It was a different feeling. So you had two different philosophies with those two guys. But Prost was still a genius. And he was still a brilliant driver. He won the World Driver Championship 4 times, didn't he? But all of that help that he got from the FISA president, Jean-Marie Ballesteri, it's just cheating, and it really damages Prost's legacy. But he was a brilliant, genius tier driver, no doubt about it. So mathematical in the way he approached his driving, brilliant. I mean, he was more like Niki Lauda in that respect, if I'm honest. Because Niki Lauda was almost mathematical in the way he approached driving. He calculated risk on the fly, and he took the exact amount of risk needed to win the race or to get pole. And Prost was the same. It was all very mathematical. And he knew the rules inside and out. Like, you know, and I know that sounds crazy thing to say, but when we look at that Monaco victory, Senna actually passed Prost before the flag was waved on lap 32, but Prost stopped on track. Why did he do that? Because he knew that it gets rolled back to the previous completed lap. Now, little things like that, Prost was a genius, and that's why he was awarded the win. I mean, it was a total scam. So the Wooden says Prost was good, but I think massively overrated. On how many would he have won without external powers backing him? I think he would have won 3. I think they robbed 1. They definitely stole 1, and they stole that 1 off Senna. But I think from a championship point of view, they probably stole. I think he would have won the other ones. He did win the others legitimately. Like his final one, it was at Williams with the active ride height. The car was head and shoulders above everybody else. And what I thought was nice, the last race Senna won was Prost's last race in Formula One. He retired after and won the World Drivers' Championship. And they did have a moment, a hug, a sort of level of respect where Senna was going to carry on. Unfortunately for Senna, it was the following year that he had the accident at Imola. But I felt there was a full circle moment between Prost and Senna. I felt when Prost retired, and I felt that moment where Senna won his last Grand Prix, they had a moment on the podium where he pulled Alain Prost onto the top step where Prost retired but also won the World Driver Championship. They had a hug, and yeah, kind of a full circle moment. And they did sort of work together when they were talking about the safety issues before, ironically, that 1994 at Imola, where the safety issues were highlighted in the worst possible way. We had Rubens Barrichello's crash. in practice. We had Roland Ratzenberger's fatality in qualifying, and then we had Senna's fatality in the race. And I'm pleased to say there's never been a fatality in Formula One since then. But yeah, crazy times back then. So we've got half an hour left of this free practice one. Well, just over actually, 38 minutes. Yeah, so I'm not sure how much we're going to learn from FP1. The Wooden says, yeah, when you look at the levels of corruption, you have no wonder. I mean, I think where there's money in sport, I think corruption lives. And my even now, like with the FIA, did they play favourites? Does Max seem to get away with more than any other driver with his, on track? I don't know. I mean, is there still some level of corruption? I tell you where I think there was corruption in the presidential election for the FIA president. I don't know it in and out, but I was reading the other day that there's what basically you need to have the different key personnel from different territories that back your application to be the FIA president. And one of those territories there's only one person who's allowed in that entire territory to back anybody. So whichever candidate has that one person in their team of people backing them wins the FIA presidency. That's crazy, right? That is crazy. So that seems like a level of corruption, doesn't it? And Sullivan, and by the way, Sullivan has that person in his team of people that back him. So it's almost equivalent of saying, well, I can't remember the lady's name. I'm sure it's a lady. Whoever she backs wins. It's crazy. Oh, the one says Jules Bianchi. Oh, you're talking about fatalities? Oh, yeah. Actually, he succumbed from his injuries, didn't he? 9 months after his crash or something, 10 or a year after his crash. Suzuka. That's true. The Wooden said it's South America and it's Bernie's wife. Right. And there's only one, because most of these territories have multiple people in them that can support the candidacy, right, for somebody to challenge to become the president of the FIA. But then I read there's one territory, and is that the one? Is there a territory in South America and it's Bernie's wife, where there's no one else in that territory that can support a candidate to become the FIA president? Was that what I read? Is that right? The Wooden, because that's what I was reading about. I was thinking, well, that's a total scam then. That's as corrupt as anything. That means that person decides who's going to be FIA president. Yeah, so Africa has loads of votes and has hardly any racetracks, and they all back him. Yeah, I mean, there's got to be some level of, like, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to get myself in trouble. I don't know. It just seems suspicious, is what I'll say. It does seem a bit suspicious. So 35 minutes left of your FP1. George Russell showing a little bit of pace. He's in a 1:11.1. We will be in the 110s by the end of the day for sure. Verstappen, 2/10 behind Russell. Sainz up there, P3. It's good to see him up there being competitive after he was poorly yesterday and had to duck out of media day. Leclerc P4, Hamilton P5, Gasly P6, Lawson P7. Lawson needs to put in a shift, doesn't he, this weekend? Liam Lawson fighting for his future in Formula One. Liam Lawson really needs to put in a good performance this weekend. Piastri down in P8. Antonelli P9, Norris P10, Hadjar's on an outlap now, P11, Behrman P12, Bortoleto P13, Albon P14, Alonso P15, Hulkenberg P16, Ocon P17, Stroll P18, Colapinto P19, Yuki Tsunoda P20. So really, two drivers that really should be in focus this weekend. Yuki Tsunoda and Liam Lawson. Because Helmut Marko has said they will give a decision on their driver lineups for 2026 in Abu Dhabi. So yeah, final race of the calendar. So you really have got Liam Lawson, Yuki Tsunoda fighting it out in a head-to-head, and this is where they need to start showing they've got some, who deserves the seat. Because I do think that Arvid Lindblad, according to reports I was reading, they have already agreed a deal with Arvid Lindblad to get promoted into that Racing Bull seat. Yeah, that's right, the Wooden. We talked about it. Colapinto has been confirmed. They've been announced in the mainstream media that Colapinto agreed his deal for 2026. And the knock-on effect of that, it means that if Yuki or Liam lose their seat for 26, there aren't any seats available, right? That's it. Unless, no, out of Formula One. Let's do a poll on that. That's a great idea. Do you know what? I think I'll do it in qualifying. Or I'll do it after qualifying. Because I think that's a good poll. Over this weekend, we'll do a poll on who we think deserves to stay in F1, Liam Lawson or Yuki Tsunoda. I'd be interested to find out what you think. So, George Russell, setting the pace at the moment, still fastest. He had the fastest first sector. Pretty decent second sector. No, not good. Not a good lap by Russell there. He's still P1 at the moment. Yeah, the Wooden says, for me, performance dictates whether you're worthy of a seat or not. Yeah. And they are, and you're right. And your second comment there, the Wooden, is like, sometimes we don't get to see the telemetry, the engineers do though. But yeah, they are looking at data and analysing that data, aren't they? I mean, that's one of the good things I think that Andrea Stella was doing with Piastri at Mexico City. He was actually able to show Piastri which corners he was losing up to 2/10 in a corner to Lando Norris. So they were able to analyse that data, and because I think Oscar Piastri is a quick study, he was then able to correct certain things during the weekend, and we saw him get stronger and stronger. Because sometimes, different driving styles win the day, and I think if you're adaptable, that's where you want to be, and I think Oscar Piastri is learning that. So, and that's all coming from the data, right? They understand it. But with Colapinto, they've got to be seeing data that, Alpine, that they must be seeing data that we don't see, because I found the Colapinto extension, actually, to be honest, quite a strange one. I think if it was me, I would have gambled on a different driver for 26. But you can't argue that Colapinto brings a huge fan base. He's very, very popular in Brazil. He also brings a load of money to the team as well. A lot of money. And that always helps when you want to keep your drive. This is how some prospects are hyped so much. Like when Dunn got in the McLaren and all the team's head were turned. Yeah. And a prospect, the thing is, you know, these rookies, being quick, to be a successful Formula One driver, it's not just about being quick over one lap. You know, it's to win a Grand Prix, it takes more than being quick. It's a different level of thinking, you know. Tire management, next year battery management, brake management. Look what's been going on at Ferrari. Charles Leclerc, lap 7, and he's got his team on the radio going, lift and coast. What? On lap 7? My brakes are overheating already. You know. Yeah, I'm not sure, though, it's ever a good idea on a major regulation change, rule regulation change like we've got in 26, to chuck in a rookie into that car, because I don't think you're going to get a lot of meaningful data back from the rookie, because what's he comparing it to? If you've got Fernando Alonso in that car and he's telling you data points on how to improve the engineering of that car, it's invaluable. You're going to learn so much, and it's going to speed up the development of a brand new car, brand new platform in a brand new era. You're chucking in a rookie, you don't get any of that data. You don't get because you don't know if this kid's good or not. You don't know if what he's telling you is useful or not. So I don't know. I think maybe this was the argument that I had for not promoting Arvid Lindblad. And Alan Permain was saying the same thing, actually. Like, he didn't think it'd be the right time to promote an F2 driver to F1 in 2026 because it's a major regulation change. And they need to be able to develop the car throughout the year. Nobody knows who's going to be quick. So the Wooden says, disagree. Never a better time to blood a rookie than we knew regs. Look at how bad Lewis was with these cars. Yeah, Lewis has been pretty bad with the ground effect era. In fact, the Mercedes has been... Toto Wolff did an interview where he said, you know, as a team, Mercedes have never come to terms or got to grips with the ground effect era of Formula One. And Lewis Hamilton hasn't either. But he also went on to say, but next year the new regulations will suit us because we're going back to really the power unit's going to be, he believes, the differentiating factor between the teams. And he also thinks it's going to be good for Lewis. We'll see if he's right, won't we? We'll see if he's right. Yeah, Wooden said Lewis even tried to develop the car and they went the wrong way. He took on the Mercedes car. Yeah, Lewis was trying some outlandish setups on that, trying to find the pace in that Mercedes car. He would sacrifice his practice, wouldn't he? A lot. He was really trying to find a setup in that car and I think that's why George Russell picked him a few times, because George Russell was just steady Eddie, you know, playing the maths. This is most probable. But that's George Russell, isn't he? He's steady Eddie. But he's fast, and he's one of the top 3 drivers, top 4 drivers, definitely for me. But he's a steady Eddie. Whereas Hamilton, I think, was pushing the envelope, trying to find that bit of pace that the team hadn't found yet by doing some outlandish setups on the car and asking the team to do some pretty wacky stuff. It was always pushing. So, quick rundown. Russell still fastest in FP1, followed by Verstappen. Sainz up there, P3. Nice to see him, you know, putting in a shift, putting in some laps, even though he's poorly. Because Carlos Sainz has really had this... He's been reinvigorated at Williams after really a terrible first half of the season where Alexander Albon was just taking him to school every Grand Prix. And then he's just found his groove, and I'm really pleased for him. Charles Leclerc, P4, Hamilton P5, Gasly P6, Lawson P7. Interestingly, faster than Hadjar at the moment. Piastri P8, quicker than Norris at the moment. Antonelli P9. Norris P10, Hadjar P11, Behrman P12, Bortoleto P13, Albon P14, Alonso P15, Hulkenberg P16, Ocon P17, Stroll P18, Cola Pinto down in P19, and Yuki Tsunoda down in P20. Now, the interesting thing about that is Cola Pinto just agreed new deal, and his teammates up in P6. You know, you're always going to be judged by your teammate, and Cola Pinto really needs to narrow that gap And he has, and to be fair to him, the last few Grand Prix, I'd say he has done that. It's not like Gasly's been scraping in the points. Gasly's been right down in the back. But Colapinto has definitely been comparable. I found it amusing when Colapinto basically ignored team radio. Stay behind Gasly. No. And just went past him for P18. Yeah. I think that was in Austin. It was, I mean, Colapinto showing some balls there, to be honest, because I don't think Flavio Briatore is somebody that you want to disappoint. So Wooden says, still can't believe Doofy. I mean, Sainz turned down the Audi drive to go to Williams. Short-sighted, I think. I don't know, man. Williams are a heritage team. If you've got that kind of, if you believe in James Voles and what he's doing there, and you believe that that Williams could get back to that winning ways of old, and it's a heritage team, it's quite romantic to want to try and win it in a Williams. I love Williams. That's the thing, though. I have a soft spot for Williams. All the way back to Nigel Mansell, Red 5, winning World Championship. Obviously, Alain Prost, he won a World Championship. Damon Hill, Jacques Villeneuve. Those winning eras with Adrian Newey designing the car. It was some glory years there, right? I don't know. Maybe that's part of his decision. Maybe it's part of it, and maybe James Voles sold him that dream and said, "Hey, that's the goal. Williams, we're going back to top of the grid. Work with me," and he must have convinced him. And maybe they will. If you think about it, Voles took over Williams. They're a P9 team, and now they're what, P5 team? Yeah, P5 team. And next year, with the major regulation changes, could they improve on that? Yeah, maybe. We do. That's what I'm so excited about 26 for, because we just don't know who's going to be super quick, who's going to get it right. I'm here for it. I mean, I agree. I think the sensible move, by the way, I'm talking about the romantic view, maybe, but the sensible view is I think Audi are going to come with a good car, a great power unit, and a solid car, because Audi, like Mercedes, they're not here to make up the numbers, are they? Plus, even though we know there are cost caps to make it fair in Formula One, they are coming from a huge organisation in the VW group, aren't they? Not that they're supposed to have conversations with anybody else who's not on the payroll for Formula One, but will they get? Is there little bits of data that will help them with the development of that car that doesn't come out of their spending? Well, probably. I mean, I don't know how it can't. But yeah, the sensible view would be Audi. But like I said, some people make choices from the heart, and maybe it's this romantic view that Williams will get back to the top. Yeah, you're right. Audi don't mess about, and they've had years of hybrid technology in LMP series. Exactly. Audi, to make the decision to come into Formula One when they've decided to come into Formula One, in the way they're doing it for 26 with their own power unit. Yeah, they know something. And the fact that Wheatley was saying they've had their power unit on the dyno for months. They're just working on some reliability stuff. But they've had the power unit on the dyno for months. Yeah, I mean, it makes me think that the Audi power unit is going to be very solid. I've seen reports saying it's within 20 horsepower of Mercedes. But yeah, No Today says, praying Aston Martin and Red Bull and Merc all fighting next year. Russell, Max and Alonso. Wow, yes, please. I agree. And I think... And I think the most likely out of those three is, I think, Merc and Aston Martin. I really do think Merc and Aston Martin. And I think if Red Bull's power unit is close enough, then Max as well. That's my guess. I'm more confident in Aston Martin for Melbourne 26 than I am for Red Bull Melbourne 26 in March. I really am. I'm more confident about Aston Martin. I know, it's crazy. Adrian Newey's doing some absolute well, he's cleaning house. He's removing a lot of senior people from the aerodynamics teams. He's getting rid of seven people. And he's working out ways to help the communication between the teams. He's Adrian Newey's not messing around. Not only is he designing a brilliant car, not only a Honda bringing a brilliant power unit, he's got Fernando Alonso. Yeah, Aston Martin are coming to play next year for sure. For sure, I'm here for it. Excuse me. So just 20 minutes, 18 minutes left of your FP1 in Sao Paulo. Are we learning anything, guys? Are we actually learning anything about who's going to be quick? I think we're going to learn more, to be honest, later on for sprint qualifying. No one's sort of... I mean, I suppose Sainz is revealing a little bit of pace in that Williams. If you're looking at just from just doing the comparable from where everyone sits at the moment, Sainz being up to P4. Just refresh. Leclerc still slightly quicker, a tenth quicker than Hamilton at the moment. But yeah, I think the ones to watch later. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you on that, no, sir. Like Russell in P1, I wasn't expecting the Mercedes. Well, that's not true. If you listen to what Toto Wolff said earlier this week, he said, Brazil we're coming back fighting. We want P2 in the constructors. We're currently P3, obviously. We're right behind Ferrari, just 1 point behind. He wants P2 in the constructors. And he said Brazil's going to be a good track for Mercedes. So Russell's shown us actually early on that it's definitely a better track for Mercedes than what we've seen. Certainly in Mexico. Not a great Grand Prix for them. Russell getting beaten by Antonelli. So yeah, I think that is probably a bit of a surprise. No, Sir J. Russell at the top there. Verstappen's up there or thereabouts in a couple of tenths. I mean, obviously they've all been out on the hards. We need to see a run on the soft tyres, don't we? Excuse me, I just need to have a little. Yeah, I think we need to see him out on the soft tyres. Don't forget, Valtteri Bottas his lap record is a 110. I think it's a 110.4. I'll check it in between the sessions. Well, no, Sir J's probably feeling more comfortable that he's not seen Hamilton at the top in FP1. He didn't want Hamilton to be quick. Cost him 100 quid if Hamilton gets a podium. Maybe that should be the poll. Will Hamilton cost No Sir J £100 this weekend? And achieve that podium finish that he's desperate for. So just 15 minutes left of the session. Let's see. I mean, really, we'll learn a bit more when they're all out on the softs, to be fair. Yuki's out on the softs now. Yeah, that's right. That's exactly what we need. Yuki's just put the softs on, but unfortunately, it looks like all the tyre changes, most people are choosing mediums. But Yuki's out on the soft, has now gone P10. I mean, Brazil is normally a two-stop strategy. But with the way these tyres are wearing, you know, I think there'll be a lot of people doing a one-stop on. Well, depending on the weather. Yeah, so getting to the last 13 minutes. I never find that we learn too much from FP1. It's like the grind. It's like you just got to get through FP1 and see what's, you know, see if anything exciting happens. But I mean, what's happened to Alexander Albon? He has really dropped off, hasn't he? Since Sainz has found some pace, Alexander Albon seems to... Oh, I say that, and he's now gone fastest. First sector, second sector. He's going to go P1 here, I think. He's gone P1. Just as I was talking about him, Albon's gone P1. Purple first and second sector. A 111 dead. That's not a bad lap, that, by Albon on mediums. Yeah, he has had some bad luck. You're right. He definitely. I think Albon is a good driver. Yeah, I do. Sainz has gone fastest in the second sector. Russell's gone P1 now. See, Sainz goes P1. First man into the 110s. Not too shabby. Ollie Behrman's up. He's only 2/10 behind Sainz's time in P4. Yeah, the way that the whole Red Bull situation with Albon, God. I mean, they dropped into. He had to do half a season as reserve driver. He didn't have a drive in F1. Yeah, I'll tell you the story about what's happening at Red Bull. Shalim, the guy who owns Red Bull, the drinks company, the majority shareholder, the Thai gentleman, wants Albon back at Red Bull. You know, that's literally what's happening, and there has been, and it's looking like it's feasible. Obviously, the driver market's a bit interesting. I think they see him as a replacement for Max if Max goes in 27. Albon's obviously got a contract at Williams for next year. That guy's so rich, by the way. He could buy Albon out of his contract with lunch money, to be honest. So that wouldn't really be a factor. I think it just comes down to how the team is set up. But yeah, he wants a Thai driver driving for Red Bull. And you know what these billionaires want? They normally get, right? And I think Albon, since he's left Red Bull, he's matured an awful lot. And I think he's become a better driver. And the first half of the season, he was doing really well. It's just the last, I'd say, 4 or 5 races, he's just fell off a cliff. And he has made a couple of mistakes. But you're right about his pace. There's times when you'll see him fastest first sector, second sector, and he bins it in the third sector. And that, you know, he puts it in the wall, and it's just, yeah. But yeah, I do think he's a good driver, and I think it would not surprise me one little bit. Oh, Alonso's put a lap in. He's on the mediums as well. He's gone P3. Piastri's gone P1. So there's only Yuki Tsunoda out on the softs right now. But Piastri's gone quickest with a 1:10.1. Norris a little slower. A little slower, nearly 0.3 slower than Piastri, and they're both on the mediums. That might be telling. I told you Piastri brought some pay. Like, this is a good track for Piastri. You know, I predicted him to be P2 in the race. But it's good to see Piastri, you know, keeping Lando Norris honest. It really is. Just 9 minutes left. Hulkenberg up to P3. Come on, the Hulk. Yeah, you're right, the wooden. That is a Red Bull shenanigan, that one. Hiding some things in the telemetry by sandbagging. Yeah, that is a Max Verstappen trick. Excuse me. Right? That's a Verstappen trick all over. How many times have we seen Verstappen just in qualifying sort of averagely making it through, and then Q3, boom, last lap, out qualifies everybody like by 0.2. Like that's yeah. And in FP1, you don't want to get. I agree with you. They're not. Some people are not trying to give anything away for the next session, which actually matters because it is qualifying for the sprint race. So nobody wants to give too much away. Interesting that Yuki went out on the soft though. I feel that if Yuki's the only one that's gone out on the softs, I feel that's under team orders. And it's got something to do with Max, that he's doing something for Max. It's always the way, isn't it, with that second Red Bull car? They've done something to Yuki's setup, put the softs on, and they wanted to get some data for Max's setup. That's why I think Yuki's the only one that's gone out on the softs. That'd be my guess. Yeah, the medium tyre is the better tyre. I think they'll run the. I think we'll see the softs later for sprint qualifying. Isn't he noted? Yeah, of course he is. They're sacrificing Yuki. Yuki's going to be doing exactly as he's told right now. But they've sent Yuki out on the soft as the only driver out there in FP1 on the soft to get Max some data. They're probably giving him some crazy wings, some crazy setup as well. It's really difficult to drive. Just try and get some data for Max. He's a sacrificial lamb right now. That's his job. Might keep him his seat though if he does it well, you know. But that's what's going on. Poor Yuki. Hulkenberg though, P3. I'm here for that. He's even on my. I put Hulkenberg on the thumbnail, so I'm quite pleased about that. Hulkenberg's on the thumbnail for FP1. And he's currently running P3. That's pretty cool. Just coming to the last 5 minutes now. We'll see if anyone's going to come get some data off this soft tyre. Oh, I feel like I'm going to sneeze. You know, you feel like you're going to sneeze and then you don't. So Lawson has been consistently quicker than Hadjar during this session, which I think is important for Lawson because I think Hadjar's got his seat nailed on for next year. I think he's going to be in that Red Bull. I think it's already decided. How lucky charm. Yeah. If Hulkenberg does well, I think it's all down to my thumbnail. Sorted him right out. Leclerc and Hamilton down P18, P19. They've only been doing a run. They've only run on the hard tyre. I mean, are they sandbagging? Are they reluctant to show any pace in FP1 for some reason? So Piastri's P1 now, sub 110. He's at 109.998. It's a quick lap. Verstappen's out on a quick lap. And Max has put on a set of softs as well. Interesting. So let's see if Max can make that soft tyre work. He's on a flyer now. I mean, Piastri's in 109. It's not going to be a given. No, Verstappen is half a second slower than Piastri. And he's on the softs. Not a good lap from Verstappen there. He wasn't showing any pace on the softs. So most people completed around the 30 lap mark, apart from Yuki, who's only done 16 laps. Well, you can't do many laps when you're having to keep getting your setup changed in the pits to try things out for Max Verstappen. Only managed to complete 16 laps, Yuki. Not the best for his weekend having to do this, but, you know. Yeah, I'm not sure what Ferrari have learned from this session. But the fact that Piastri, just from a psychological point of view, for Piastri to be quicker than Norris in FP1 will do him the world of good going into sprint qualifying. Because Piastri and Norris have literally been running the same tyres. There's not been any shenanigans during FP1. They've literally matched each other with all the variables. And Piastri currently quicker than Norris. That's good for him. Because I want to see a competitive Piastri, don't you? Like, I want Norris and Piastri, if they're the two fastest cars, if we take Max out of the equation, I want to see them race. I don't want to see somebody sort of Piastri just fall off the edge of a cliff. You know, if you're going to lose a championship, then make someone beat you. Don't beat yourself. 50 seconds left. As soon as this is over, I am going to have to run really quick off the stream because I've got to go and do some work. And then I will be back for sprint qualifying at 6:30. But yeah, I've got, so in about 30 seconds time, I will be running off super quick. So it looks like this: Piastri P1, Norris P2, Hulkenberg P3, Alonso P4, Bortoleto P5, Russell P6, Hadjar P7, Sainz P8, Antonelli P9, Lawson P10, Albon P11, Ocon P12, Gasly P13, Behrman P14, Stroll 15, Colapinto 16, 17th is Verstappen, 18 Leclerc, 19 Hamilton, and 20 Yuki Tsunoda. We're going to learn more later. I promise you that. We're going to learn more during sprint qualifying. So make sure you join me at 6:30 UK time so we can enjoy it together. But for now, I've just got to see Piastri's lap, see if he's improved. No, he's not going to improve on his time. None of them are. All right, I'm going to see you at 6:30. Thank you so much for enjoying the stream with me. I'll see you then.